Randall, you're coming with us.
You're coming with us, boy, and we're taking your kneecap with you.
Uncle Rick is taking you into the barn. Welcome back, guys, to Fall Again Entertainment, here to talk about some more Walking Dead Season 2 theories. Yeah, we reviewed Season 2 quite a while ago, so you can check the reviews on the channel, but we're still getting around to catching up with some of the talking points in Season 2. And another talking point that we have to talk about today is, of course, the whole Randall situation. So we get introduced to Randall and him and his group come looking for Dave and Tony, who have just been wiped out by Rick in the bar. We get into a bit of a shootout once they discover that Dave and Tony have died. Randall tries to escape with his buddies, but falls off the roof, impales his leg. And from this point on, it looks like he's a goner, but Rick looks at Randall and thinks, he's a kid. Maybe it reminds him of Carl, even though he's about
20.
20. I don't know, but Rick comes to the conclusion that we can't leave him behind here to get eaten by the walkers. He could have put a bullet in him, put him out of his misery, but no. Rick decides to do the right thing. You know, he doesn't want to hurt Randall, so he decides to rip his leg off its hinges by pulling him off the barbed wire.
Which definitely doesn't hurt him.
Then taking him back to the farm, tying him up, beating him up, interrogating him, and basically torturing him and making his life misery.
For about a week.
Yeah, for the remainder of his life.
So remember, Rick did not want to hurt Randall.
Yeah, he didn't
so
want
what
to
he
hurt
wanted to do if he wanted to hurt Randall?
So I guess the big question we got here is, was Rick right to capture Randall? What was the right thing for Rick to do? Should Rick have released Randall? And is there any situation that could have played out where Randall either didn't attack the group or, try and harm the group, and B, didn't end up dying at the hands of the group? So yeah, let's move on to the original, the first meeting, so to speak. Rick, he saves them. I can see why. I suppose you don't want to leave anybody just to get eaten by zombies, but at the same time, Randall was part of the group that was literally trying to kill Rick moments ago.
Yeah, so for that reason alone, I think he has made the right choice here, right? And who's Rick to know that Randall was in the same class as Maggie and would know the Green family, right? He's not to know that. But even I think they did blindfold him on the way back. But if Rick left Randall here, or if he shot Randall to put him out of his misery, I think all three options, it is the closest way to a three-way split you would get. I feel like any way I have no problem with.
I just think that Randall's lucky that he bumped into mid-season 2 Rick and not a season 3 or later Rick.
Well, Rick probably would have snapped his neck and peeled his other leg and did whatever to him.
Nah, Rick would have probably left him for the fucking walkers to eat.
Oh, that's very true. Yeah, Rick, very big show of Rick, but yeah, no, you're right, he is very lucky because Rick would not have gave two shits later on, man. Randall would have made a nice wee chew toy for the walkers.
So, do you think Rick was right? What should he have done? Done nothing? Was he right to take Randall with him, or should he maybe put Randall out of his misery?
Well, see, at the end of the day, he was a part of the group that was attacking him, so I think maybe put him out of his misery. That's what I would have done in Rick's shoes. But he didn't. He brought him back. How much of it was the fact that he looked a bit younger? He is a kid. Like you said, the whole Carl connection.
If he was 40 years old, would he just got left?
I think he'd have got left, aye.
Alright, so we get back to the farm, and then obviously they find out that he knows Maggie, so he knows about the farm, and that there is a potential that he can relocate with his group and then come and attack the farm. So we get into this big dilemma where basically Rick feels like they can't let him go, but he doesn't want to kill him either. So they come up with a plan to release him, but we all know that doesn't work out, and they end up bringing him back to the farm and torturing him even more.
But see the thing, I don't get, see the whole 18 miles out thing? If Randall is from this area, surely if you leave him 18 miles out, he's going to find his way back to his group or to the farm. If you're familiar with an area. It's not like they went 180 miles out. They went 18. 18's not that much. If you're familiar with an area. And also, we did have that scene where the episode kicks off and Randall, for no reason, just says, by the way, Daryl, my group likes to rape kids in front of their fathers.
Yeah, again, that's something I don't think went well for Randall.
No, he did nothing. No, it's not like Daryl didn't impress him for it. Daryl's just sitting there sharpening his knife, and Randall's like, I want to hear about this belter of a story, big man.
And even when Shane is like trying to fake Randall into like, you know, taking him back to his group, he kind of like opens up to Shane a little bit and he's like, yeah, you're going to like it with my group, a lot of tough guys. And
We
it's
love
like,
touching kids, brother.
you know, so I mean, Randall doesn't exactly do himself any favours here, but I mean, the 18 miles out thing, I guess it works because he does right now. They don't tell him anything about the farm. It's not until they're going to release him where he knows about. He tells him about Maggie.
I guess so, but he was already aware, wasn't he, though? Or how did he know that was Maggie's farm? Did he see her? Or did Rick and Shane mention that and he knew it was the farm?
See, I don't know, but they didn't know that he knew about the farm until 18 miles out.
So therefore they couldn't have played that as a factor, which is
But
fair
obviously Randall must have knew about it because he didn't just... He knew that they were on the farm.
And again, what another stupid thing to fucking say. I guess he was trying to say, like, oh, don't kill me, I know Maggie, but that adds to the fuel.
You know what? We'd actually need to rewatch. I can't remember exactly how that part plays out.
I'm pretty sure they're about to kill him, and then he went, "Don't kill. I know Maggie."
Yeah, but how does he know that these Shane and Rick are on Maggie's farm?
Very true.
I can't actually remember how that played out.
Was he blindfolded when he arrived? I'm pretty sure he was in the back of that red pickup truck. But you know what, right? See, at the end of the day, whether he's an arsehole, his group's arseholes or whatever, they literally tortured him for, like, what's worse, killing him?
Putting out his misery or torturing him for a week.
Getting battered.
Well, once they find out he knows about Maggie and the farm, does that make the situation more difficult? Can they no longer just release him? Is it not that simple anymore?
I think they can release him.
Because you're on about how they didn't take him far enough away. The reason they thought 18 miles was enough because they weren't aware that he knew of the farm.
Yeah, and obviously.
But for some reason he is aware of the farm that we're not aware of. So he knows about the farm, but Rick and Shane didn't know that he knew about the farm. So they thought just taking him 18 miles away would be enough because he would never, happen to track back onto the farm. But then he reveals that he knows about Maggie and he knows about the farm. And then it's like, oh shit.
I'm not really that familiar with Georgia, right? But obviously Randall's familiar with Georgia, so
He's familiar with the farm, so
18 miles out. You know what, right? They should have just fucking killed him.
they could have put him 180 miles out, like you said. As soon as he knows where the farm is, he knows.
Exactly, it doesn't matter.
So again, that makes the situation more difficult, and I understand they don't want to kill him in cold blood, but I mean, do you really want to take the chance? I mean, we kind of see in season 3 when it's like the whole thing with the prisoners. I mean, it's kind of the same situation. It's like, what was Rick thinking? I'm going to let them stay? Or even if he lets them go, I mean, they're always going to know about the farm. I mean, they're always going to know about the prison.
Yep, exactly.
I do feel like it's one of those situations where if there's bad people and you don't trust them, in this sort of world, it's either you or them.
Exactly, and that was like the last video, like with Rick and Shane, it got to that point.
It pretty much comes down to this. For Rick to let Randall go, he needs to decide whether or not he trusts Randall and whether he thinks Randall is capable of meeting back up with his crew and telling his crew about the farm, and then obviously coming and trying to attack the farm and take their women or whatever. So he needs to decide whether Randall is capable or bad enough to do that. And if he comes to the conclusion that Randall would do that, then he's got two options. You either kill him or you move everybody off the farm and find a new location.
Well, see, at the end of the day, at the start, you think it might just been a group that he got into a shootout with. But see, once Randall starts talking about his group and the fact they rape kids, I think that's it. That is the line has been crossed.
How can you let him go?
Exactly, you can't.
Or if you let him go, you have to leave the farm.
But which is just fucking ridiculous.
Or you could say, right, go, and if you come back, we'll take you.
We'll rape you.
It's like I mean, I know it's not nice what they've done, but it is a difficult situation. And I kind of like The Walking Dead when you had these.
They made such a simple situation into such a big storyline rather than all this fighting.
Then you got Dale running about trying to convince people not to do it. I mean, I thought that was when it was good.
But see,
Take Walking Dead.
But see when Dale was running about with his wee hat saying, hey, we need to keep him alive, and we got a couple of flip photos like Glenn and Andrea, did anyone bring up here his group's a bunch of child rapists?
No, but that would have pretty much shot down Dale's request straight away, I think.
It probably would have, but...
But we've seen you think of the pace of the show. I mean, season 2 of The Walking Dead, whole thing stuck on a farm, it was great. Then you've got people saying that The Last of Us game isn't big enough to go 9 episodes. I mean,
come on, guys, it's all about the pacing. But the quote Metallica, sleep with one eye open, that's exactly what Rick and the group would have had they done if they let Randall go, in my opinion.
Aye, so, yeah. I kind of, I think the right thing, I think kind of Shane was right when he says, nah, we have to kill this kid.
Yeah, Shane was always right.
Yeah.
He had to go.
At first, I agree with Rick, 18 miles out. But as soon as he knows where you are, if he knows, he knows.
Like, no, the thing is, like, you've got Dale, Rick, right, who kind of had their suspicions that Shane killed Otis, right? If they thought, like, I know it's kind of different, but surely if they're all right with living with Shane who potentially killed Otis, surely killing this kid who's with a group of rapists is all right.
Yeah. Again, yeah. So that's it, guys. We think that we think it was kind of justified in a shitty way.
No, it's justified, man.
I
think even without the rapist talking whatever group he belongs to, it's justified. Especially in that world, man. You don't know what could happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't.
If anything, it would be better letting him stay with you than letting him go. At least you can monitor him.
But then again, let's just say they pretend they intend to like stay on the farm and see it as apocalypse. Is it practical? Keep my guy locked up prisoner for possibly years, feeding him? It's just not mean.
No, but they don't need to keep him prisoner. Personally, I don't think that. I mean, let's be real.
No, then he's so
the Otis situation.
No, hold on.
Shane and Rick could have turned into a very similar.
Yeah, but hold on. If they don't trust to let Randall go, they're hardly going to trust Randall to let him like walk about the camp and be one of them. What he could one night he could take off and leave, or if they think he's a danger to them or the women.
Is they fear more Randall going back to his group rather than Randall himself.
Well, don't some of the women say they're not really comfortable with Randall being on the farm?
Well, the women. Well, you know what? How about the women get a gun and fucking make the big grown-up decisions instead of Rick and fucking Shane and Daryl?
Well, Laurie tried to, like, but she got about 2 miles down the road in her car and then she fucking crashed. So didn't work out too good for her.
2 miles. As soon as she fucking pulled out the Herschel estate, man, the car flipped.
Anyway, guys, let me know if let me know if you guys are flipping. Do you agree with what Rick? Do you agree with the fate that Randall met? Personally, you know, it sucks for him, but once he reveals he knows the location of the farm, and once he reveals the kind of group he's with, I think the risk of letting him go.
The quote Chibs, Frankie's made his bed, Jackie.
You can lie in it. Randall made his bed and he got to lie in it.
Aye. Didn't get tucked in.
No, didn't get tucked in.
Snapped, buried. Good night. Till next time, though. Peace.